I've always loved animation, and ever since I became an avid anime watcher, I've always wanted to animate my own things. So, I present to you my Capstone project, 2D animating my own short film. I'm going to tell you now not to expect a full animation because I wasn't able to finish much, but I did learn a lot. I've actually been planning to do this for my capstone since grade 9, so all my IDS projects have kind of been molded around the fact that I'd be making an animation in grade 12. My grade 8 IDS was animation as well, so I kind of had a full circle moment. I learned how to draw better in 9th, Japanese in 10th, and I made a manga in 11th, and it was all connected so that I could make a subbed Japanese animation for this year. Anyway, before I get to showing you my animation, I want to introduce you to my characters. Let me take you back to January. My friend, whom I will not name, bought a bunch of bracelets and decided to give them out to some of us as a gift. Since I'm a chronic daydreamer, I turned those bracelets into 5 separate characters and a full entire fight scene and backstory. All in my head and all in one day, which is probably not good for my schoolwork. The characters that I created were Ina, Arno, Nathaniel, Andy, and Davina. Characters which I call the Hell Heroes. I soon added them to my department of superheroes on Notion, and I left them to rot on the app. That was until I had a dream. But before we get into the dream, I gotta tell you the lore of my characters. Are you kidding? You gotta know the backstory? I didn't make a backstory for no reason. There was this mystical witch who was very well known for selling their magic items. Sometimes they liked to prepare magical gifts for themselves to use. That's what they were doing with these bracelets. They had stolen the superpowers of many known heroes and embedded them into the strong leather bracelets with the intent to use them for crime and for their own good. The witch left the bracelets out one day on their table, and their apprentice, who works very close with them and their products, thought that they were out for delivery and shipped them off to their usual customer. Now, this store was a convenience store that was very, very close to the school that many students go to, especially the students of the Hell Heroes. The Hell Heroes go to the school that the convenience store is near. So eventually, through purchase or gift, they all got one. Arno, Nathaniel, Davina, Andy, and John. You're probably wondering who John is because I didn't mention him at the beginning, but there is a distinct reason for why I didn't mention John at the beginning. These 5 all got one from the store. They bought one. Davina, though, gave Ina 2 bracelets that she bought because Davina and Ina are they're in a toxic relationship. They've been on and off for about a year and a half. Super toxic. They're both terrible for each other. But Davina, wants another chance. It's obsession. I don't even know. It's a little spoiler for 20 years from now for when the story is actually finished with these characters. Ina and Davina die, and it's supposed to symbolize their relationship, but whatever. They're exes right now. Currently in the X stage. So Davina gives Ina 2 bracelets to try and apologize and win her back, essentially. And Ina takes them reluctantly because they're still a gift. The 6 of them start experiencing weird things throughout that day. But you know what? Everyone experiences weird things, so they shake it off. They don't give a crap. And then, the next day, they realize they have superpowers. Ina was given pyrokinesis and electricity, becoming the hero Pyro. Arno given hydrokinesis, becoming Harbor. Nathaniel given the power of darkness, becoming Equinox. Davina with cryokinesis, becoming Nitro. And Andy having geokinesis, basically earthbending, becoming Monolia. John, I don't know what John has. I haven't thought about what John has. He's just John with a bracelet right now. John doesn't even have a face, man. I feel bad for him. The witch at this time was freaking out. Bro spent so much time collecting all these superpowers just for his assistant to send them out to regular people. His anxiety was peaking. So he invokes a spell that locates the bracelets, and the witch spends their time searching for them all. Now, there's only one problem when it comes to retrieving these bracelets. Once somebody wears one of these bracelets, they become bonded to it. So if anyone else wants to wear it and use the abilities, they'd have to kill the original user. The witch implemented this curse so that nobody could take the bracelets off of them. The witch was powerful. So how were a bunch of teenagers supposed to beat the witch? Well, in short, they do beat him. They save their school, but John loses his life and his bracelet, and the remaining 5 become the Hell Heroes. Their identities stay public, which means they don't really have a choice to decide if they want to be heroes or not. That leads me to the dream I had in January. I introduced to you Katana, not anywhere related to the katana from Mortal Kombat at all. Just her name's Katana. She doesn't use katanas. She doesn't own katanas. Her name is just Katana. She appeared in my dream, lifted a bunch of people in the sky at my elementary school during a random festival. I can vividly remember seeing myself from a low angle running away from Katana lifting all these people into the air. It was so vivid that I can still remember it now. It's kind of crazy. Like, it's a little scary. I was like, you know what? I'm an artist. I'm just gonna make that real. I was really intrigued at how it looked in my brain. Usually I write my dreams down when they're that vivid. I have drawn things from my dreams before, like this zombie I made after our trip to Strathcona. I had this zombie nightmare, and this is what my brain made. So one of the great things about being an artist is when I have these ideas in my head, I can actually put them onto paper and like see them again. So I thought it'd be really cool if I could animate this awesome dream I had. Katana has telekinetic abilities, so she is able to move things with her mind, and she is really good at it. The Hell Heroes, along with solo hero Prince, also known as the Forge, work for the same hero company called Chromation, a subdivision of Chromatic, which is run by one of the biggest heroes in the world, whose name is Purple Man. Not related to Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, the names are just the same. They were tasked to protect a small festival from Katana if she were to arrive. Before this mission, Katana had been attacking any events with large groups of people, so everything was really tense for the heroes. Well, she does show up, along with her sidekick, called the Indescribable Light. Now, the Indescribable Light is a character I created for this animation that actually wasn't in my dream, but I had drawn characters like him before, and I decided that maybe this is where I put him in. He's very heavily based off Voldemort, with no eyes and barely any nose, and his skin is really pale and gray. Now, what makes him really special is his superpower, which is Solar Beam. Have you guys ever played Pokemon and you had a grass Pokemon like Bulbasaur? Well, Bulbasaur has a move he can learn called Solar Beam, where he takes in the heat and chemicals from the sun, absorbs it, and then shoots a really strong beam of sunlight at his opponent. That is basically what the Indescribable Light has. You'll see later in the animation how he sucks in essence from the sun and then fires it off in this incredibly strong beam of light. And he's actually one of my favorite characters that I've made, because I just think he's so cool. Anyways, the Hell Heroes are able to beat both of them after a long, grueling fight, and that is exactly what I based my whole animation about. So unfortunately, I was unable to finish my animation. What I was able to finish was the story, the storyboards for scenes 1 through 5, sketched animations for the first 2 scenes and the 5th one, because I wanted to, and key animation for scene 1. The programs I used for this project are Clip Studio Paint and Toon Boom Harmony. Clip Studio Paint is a wonderful program I've been using for years. I animated on it before, creating small things like this. I just want to introduce you to the program because while making this project, I had to learn how to use it more. This is the timeline where all your frames are supposed to go. This is onion skin, so it lets you see the frames before and after the one you're editing. These are all my tools, and that's basically everything I use while animating on this program. Now, as much as I love it, I do have some icks. I find that when animating on this program, the timeline will lag, so when I play through the animation, it always feels slower. So I end up changing things, and it ends up messing up the timing for each frame, making it weird to like perfect the timing of when I want things to happen. The second program I used is called Toon Boom Harmony, and I actually just purchased it this month. Prior to January, I was using 2 free trials of the program to animate scene 1 because Toon Boom Harmony is expensive for the version I was doing my free trials on, called Harmony Advanced. It was $100 a month. $100 a month? But I got a student discount on it, and I ended up getting it for $100 for the whole year. But $100 a month is that's like crazy. This program is strictly for animating. It's meant to be used after you do your like sketch animation because of the way the lines work. It works in vector lines and vector shapes, so everything is kind of smooth, and if you enlarge the image, the pixels won't be changed. You know how you like enlarge an image on your phone and you can like kind of see the pixels? With vector images, if you enlarge it, it enlarges the pixels too, so nothing really becomes pixelated. So I would import my sketch animation into Toon Boom and I would animate over top the keyframes. This is an animation I did on this program for Joker's Classic that no one really got to see, so you're seeing it now, and it's just a rotoscope animation I made of one of my friends. Now, I didn't realize that it would take so long to animate something. I started this project early in February of 2023, so almost a year ago, and I began without a proper storyboard, which I now understand is not the best way to go about things, and created this sketched animation. This is the first scene of my animation. As you can see, there isn't much movement, and this is because of my lack of planning. And what do I mean by planning? That would be storyboarding. Storyboard animation is necessary in planning an animation. You draw and plan out what's going to happen in your animation shot by shot. For scene 1, I didn't have a storyboard, so it took me longer to finish the sketched animation, and a lot of it is very stale and still. When I started storyboarding, I was able to finish sketched animation faster. I did this for scene 2, which only took me a couple days straight of animating the sketched animation, while the first scene, it took me like a month on and off. I then learned that storyboard also takes a while if you don't have a script. A script of which I didn't make. I should have probably made a script of how I wanted the animation to flow, and then I wouldn't have been blanking so much when actually making my storyboard. These are all the storyboards I made. After I storyboarded, I would take pictures of my boards and import them into Clip Studio Paint. I would take singular boards and space them out throughout the timeline and then animate on top of them, creating my sketch animation. Then I would take my sketch animation and put it into Toon Boom Harmony to do my key animation. What is key animation, you ask? Key animation is when animators draw out the important key moments of the animation without completing the cut. I'll give you an example. This is Chax. Chax wants to wave to you. This is the key animation of Chax waving to you. As you can see, it's just 2 frames that imply the movement of the wave, which is key animation. This is key animation that one of my inspirations, Yutaka Nakamura, did for season 2 of My Hero Academia. The animation is very choppy, but it has the most important moments of the movement. After animating the keyframes, the animator will then animate the in-betweens, which smoothens out the animation and gives it more movement. This is the key animation I was able to do for my project. I decided halfway through that I would animate their hair on a different layer. That's why everyone is bald. I wasn't able to do many of the in-between frames, except for a couple shots like these. I learned that even when it's planned out for you, it still takes a while. I worked on this for like 2 months on and off, and I'm still not done. My slowness probably definitely is because I'm inexperienced and I'm actually quite a perfectionist when it comes to drawing, which is something I'm working on getting better at, and I'm still learning the most effective way to use this program. So everything is really new to me right now, so it makes my time process even slower. I want to tell you more about animation, so I'm going to use one of my other inspirations, Yen BM, to show you something else I learned. Yen says he uses Clip Studio Paint to animate all the stuff in this video, which I find hard to believe because I was unaware that you could do camera movement like this in Clip Studio Paint, so I feel a little robbed, but whatever. I just wanted to show you all these letters up here. Each letter is tracking a different movement in this animation. I tried my best to do the same thing in my animation, but I didn't have many differing frames, so it doesn't look like much is happening. Overall, I learned a lot about animation and story creation, organizing my ideas in the app Notion, and then storyboarding, animating my ideas. Making an actual dream into a reality is so awesome, and I felt so cool doing it. It's such an awesome feeling looking at my concept art for my characters and knowing that those characters are something I created out of my own brain is just, it's bamboozling to me. Though I wasn't able to finish, I still learned a lot about the process of animation and about the programs I was using. Did you know if you're an animator, at least in Japan, your animation has to go through like 3 different people before it moves on to the next animator, because there's a hierarchy in animation kind of. So you'll animate something and then an animator with more experience will look at it and give you notes on it, and then an animator of even more experience will look at it and change things that they want changed, and then it moves on to the next step. So it's kind of crazy. It's really complicated. The challenges that I encountered were of course procrastination and finding the motivation to actually do my work. My time management wasn't the best, so I struggled to get things done on time with my schedule. And I was really busy during December, which usually never feels like, I never feel like I'm too busy, but in December, because of Joker's Classic and my film project, I didn't have any time to work on my project. And you know, I kind of used all my free time to play Valorant. So like, the time management and priorities were not really there sometimes. I intend on working on this animation until I finish it. I get the motivation to do that from this animator on YouTube called Mazumato, and they did this animated fight scene all by themselves, and it took them like about a year. I was following them while they were doing it on Twitter, and I was seeing like the process of some of the shots, and I remember seeing like half of it earlier in the year because it got reposted, and then I saw the whole thing, and it's this 11.5-minute video fully animated by this one guy, fully composited, and it looks great. Looking at this video motivates me even more to finish my project, because if they can do it, so can I. So like, I really want to see the final product of my dream. There's scenes I really want to animate that have been in my head, and I really just want to see it like full and out there and like fully animated and stuff. I want to push myself, and I would also like to show something more at the IDS fair, because I feel like I could have more in 6 more months. If you want to see more of these characters, you will in theaters in about 30 years. I'm only half joking, because you definitely will see them in theaters one day, because that's my plan, is to end my career with my superhero movies. But I also plan on finally starting my art YouTube channel, and that's where I intend on talking about them. Sometimes I'm a little scared of talking about my original characters, because there's a deep fear instilled inside my heart because of some Twitter drama I saw 3 years ago. I work hard on all my characters and animations because it's something I genuinely want to do, so I feel so much more motivated to do it than like math or chemistry. And I really enjoyed this capstone because it gave me an excuse to use my time to work on something I love, and that's kind of one of the things I'm looking forward to doing in university, because I know that whether I'm going to a 2D animation course or an arts course or a film course, they're all something I like doing. Thank you all for watching my capstone project, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And now I'm finally gonna show the full animations with some sound effects I added.
Thank you.